Well, hey, good morning to everybody. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. It's kind of a rainy day today. The rain stopped and I'm just out here walking with Benjamin, my dog, and out here at Lake Jacomo. And this morning, before I came here, I was praying just about what to talk about. Somehow I took a wrong turn. Gosh, I've been out here a bunch. Maybe everything just looks different. I don't know. In the rain and being all wet. But anyhow, I was praying. And I don't do this thing with my prayers that often. But occasionally I like to just ask God, well, what do you want me to talk about? And I used to do that when I was a teacher, especially when I taught at a Christian school. There were times where, just pray, what do you want me to talk about, God? And he'd show me something. And anyhow, as I prayed about that, he just kind of reminded me of something that I've actually been talking about, but a little more detail of it. And it's in 2 Timothy 3, where it says, but know this, that in the last days, perilous times will come. Men will be lovers of themselves, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents. But, and of course, all those things are happening. Sorry, I gotta be careful not to slip down this cliff, or down this steep hill here. Everything's real wet. So all those things are happening, but what God showed me this morning was really just pointed out was that part, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good. One of the things that disturbs me the most online, that because everybody's got a camera and everybody's putting stuff online. YouTube alone has like 40 million uploads a day, something crazy. And the thing that I hate to see, but it's, it always catches, again, sorry, it's pretty steep, is just people losing their minds. Like they're just out in the world losing their minds. They have no self-control. They are without self-control. People that, maybe their neighbors are like, that guy's a good person and, very solid dad, grandfather, blah, 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 goes to church. And the next thing you know, he's like standing in line at Starbucks and somebody gets his order wrong and he's screaming, throwing, breaking. Maybe using racist comments. Maybe even getting violent. That is without self-control. That is a society without self-control. And obviously that's a small percentage of this society, but it's enough to make you go, that's a lot of lack of self-control. Growing up as a teenager in the 80s, there was nothing like that. I never saw anything like that, ever. And even if there wasn't cameras, I've seen it with my own eyes in person multiple times. Like, there was nothing like that. If you did that, people would think you were the town lunatic. And I mean, let's look at the schools. Disobedient to parents, but it's still without self-control. Kids doing things in schools that, there were no shootings when I was a kid. You never would have heard of such a thing. This is without self-control, what that looks like. You have people, in serious sexual immorality without self-control, but that's always been the case. This is different. This is very different. This is without self-control, brutal, despisers of good. Like, there's nothing good in that lack of self-control. People are losing their friggin' minds. And I don't even think they know why. Like, and they're justifying it somehow. Well, I have the right to lose my mind. You got my order wrong at Starbucks. Or you didn't go fast enough at the stoplight. So now I'm going to just murder your whole family by trying to drive you off the road. Like, without self-control. And I believe that this is prophecy fulfilled. And I think that we have to, as Christians, observe prophecy like God put it there for a reason. There's a reason why it says that in 2 Timothy. That in the last days, people will be without self-control. Brutal. Despisers of good. You know, that's literally what that means. And I think oftentimes when we, you know, when God puts a list of stuff, you know, we tend to kind of blow past like, you know, well, that's all a bunch of stuff, you know. But you got to focus, what are these things that he's saying here? That in the last days, perilous times will come, and then here's a list. And it just so happens, and, you know, again, people can say, well, it's a small percentage of the country, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'd say most people are I would say a larger percentage than most think are on the brink of snapping any second now. And that is without self-control. That's literally the definition of without self-control. I think even people that are probably sitting there going, no, because everybody's pretty calm. Like, even those people could snap at any time. Like, it doesn't take much is what I've seen in society. And that is a spirit of wickedness. Like, that is, you know, we battle against, whoa, giant spider web. Whew, man, I'm about to put a face planted in that thing. We battle against principalities of wickedness. Like, this is demonic stuff. You know, be not fooled. There are people just, you know, and they're sitting there at Starbucks and demons are like, you gonna let that girl get away with getting your order wrong? Like, you gonna put up with that? You deserve better than that. You should just lose your mind. You should start screaming and throwing stuff. Yeah, do it. Like that kind of thing. And people are just losing their minds. And that's literally what they're talking about there. That's why God put it in the Bible. And we can stare at it, you know, like scroll through your TikTok. It's going to be all over the place, man. There's people losing their minds. You know, somebody, you know, walking down the sidewalk wrong. Just stupid stuff. You know, so I don't like the way somebody parked or something. Well, you know, and again, you may argue it's a small percentage, but even beyond the fact that I think it is a large percentage, and I disagree if you do think it's a small, there just wasn't anything like this before. Like, this is different. You know, I go back to growing up in the 80s. Nothing like this. You'd have been a town lunatic if you tried any such nonsense. And now a lot of people think it's just normal. Like, I have the right to get violent because you won't give me a refund for this dress I bought. Or I have the right to get violent because I don't like the response that the manager gave me of this store. Or I have the right to get violent because you sped past me and pulled in front of me. Like, that is without control, self-control, brutal. Like, that's prophecy fulfilled in my eyes. In the last days, people will be without self-control. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, and I honestly believe, and I've said this in other videos that had nothing to do with this, you take the rule of law out of the equation, I think a lot of people are just holding themselves together because of the rule of law. You take the rule of law out of the equation, people are going to be like eating people kind of thing. Like drinking their blood and stuff. Like, people are going to get, let's use God's word, brutal. And it is only the rule of law holding some people together right now. That's it. They just know they get in trouble for doing such crazy nonsense. So, without self-control, man. Any thoughts or insight on that? Definitely put it below. I mean, I just think sometimes when God says in the last days there's going to be this thing, and we see that thing, we need to recognize that. So, there you go. Again, any thoughts or insight, put it below.